Hi there, this is Anthony Devine, CEO, founder, and owner of DigitalWave Marketing. First of all, I want to thank you very much for coming and joining me here today on this valuable presentation. I think you're going to find it not only informative, but I'm going to provide you with very vital information that can make a huge difference in your business starting as soon as today. So what you're going to be able to do by the end of this training webinar, which I'm going to keep this session to the best of my ability under 30 minutes because I value your time. I know you want to get back to business and making money and doing what you do best. But what we're going to be able to do at the end of this is estimate the value of ranking on page 1 of Google for any competitive keyword. And with that in mind, what I want you to do as we go throughout this presentation, have at the forefront of your mind the following question. Can you afford not to rank on Google? And what I mean by that is, can your business and its website afford not to rank specifically on page 1 of Google? Now, you're going to find that to be kind of silly as we go through this. It can become almost like a rhetorical question in the sense that once we go through the content here, it's going to be an obvious answer. But I want you to have it at the forefront of your mind so you kind of have your state of mind of seeing where I'm leading you to here throughout the presentation. Very important what's going to kind of unfold in the next few minutes here. So with that, I want to do a very brief introduction. Again, my name is Anthony Devine. I'm CEO, founder, and owner of DigitalWave Marketing. We are a premier SEO services provider and internet marketing consulting agency that serves professional clients throughout the United States. So professional clients would be businesses and practices such as law firms, physicians, dentists, oral surgeons, realtors, insurance agents, and the like. So we help professional services organizations get top rankings with their website and other digital assets and properties. Now, our company utilizes a proven ranking system for ranking keywords on page 1 of Google. That's page 1, number 1, and including at this very moment ranking over 20,000 top keywords number 1 in Google on more than 1,000 websites across the United States. These keywords receive several 100,000 monthly searches that produce up to thousands of phone calls daily, and a percentage of those phone calls convert to sales and increase revenues and profits. Now, if you're interested in having your phone ringing more and being able to convert those phone calls and the emails as well to sales and increase revenues and profits, let me tell you, if that all sounds appealing to you, you're in the right place at the right time. So what I want you to do right now is to be sure to tune out and shut off all distractions, including your mobile devices, social media, and the like. Close the door if you need to. If you're at the office, it's noisy, or wherever you may be. Also, it would be helpful to have a pen and paper handy, or if you prefer, a notepad open on your computer so you can take great notes. And I want you to get ready to see why your business needs to rank on page 1 of Google and really cannot afford not to. Now, what I have here first is to show you that SEO, or search engine optimization, has the biggest impact on online lead generation. As you can see here, it's not only business to business, but also business to consumer. I'm going to show you, first of all, B2B, or business to business. In this pie chart, you can see that 57% indicate that SEO, or search engine optimization, has the biggest impact for leads. Now, the second place is PPC, or paid per click, such as AdWords. That's coming in at a substantially lower second place at 25%, and then rounding out these 3 items is social media at 18%. So you can see that SEO is predominant and makes the biggest impact for online lead generation. And it's also true for B2C, or business consumer. We're talking 41% SEO versus PPC, again, our pay-per-click, such as AdWords, at 34%, and social media at rounding out these 3 items at 25%. Now, to give you an idea of the size and scope of daily searches, and this is just Google, there's also Bing, Yahoo, and some other search engine services, but just Google alone, over 5.5 billion search queries were done in 2015, and that number and figure is higher in 2016, approaching, if not, have already surpassed 6 billion daily. And as you can see, it just exponentially has been growing over the past 12 years here, from 2003 to 2015, as this chart indicates. Now, in terms of what happens on page 1 of search results, when somebody does a search, in Google, for example, they land on search results 1 through 10 organically. And out of the 1 through 10 results, 91.5% are going to click on any one of those on page 1. Of course, when you have a search, you can have multiple pages that come back. Could be, depending on the search, could be anywhere from 1 page up to 100 or more pages. And so the point of the matter is, regardless of the number of pages, most searchers do not get past page 1. So that's a big takeaway here. Now that leaves, if 91.5% are clicking on page 1 search results, only 8.5% of clicks are happening on page 2 and beyond. So if you look at this chart here, very demonstratively speaking, you want to be page 1 ranking 91.5% of the time. The searcher is going to pick it's going to pick one of the rankings 1 through 10 or more than one and click on. Now, if you're on page 2 or beyond, you have a very small percentage. Page 2, 4.8% of the time, the clicks are going to happen anywhere from ranking 11 through 20, and then beyond that, page 3 and beyond, it's kind of a needle in a haystack situation. Most searchers don't get beyond that. They do a new search query versus going to page 3 and beyond. If they can't find it on the first page, very likely they're not going to make it to the second page or after that. Now, when we talk in terms of first page clicks, you want to be, obviously number 1 is the ultimate goal, but you want to be at least in the top 5 results, and I argue even the top 3 results here. The higher the better, of course, because as you can see here, out of that 91.5% first page clicks, 75.7% of those clicks are happening on page 1 ranking positions number 1, number 2, and number 3. So if you're ranking page 1, number 1 for a particular keyword, 32.5% of the time on average, the searcher is going to click on that number 1 result. And then number 2 results can be 17.6%, number 3 results 11.4%, and it goes on, so on and so forth, 4 through 10 here. I'm not going to read them all. But you can see here you want to be ranking higher to get more potential clicks to your website. Now, the initial takeaways you should have at this point is that SEO is the key driver of online lead generation. Ranking on page 1 of Google is imperative, and your SEO and ranking goal is really a top 3 result. The higher, the better, because you're going to get more clicks, and the more clicks you have an opportunity to convert into revenue and sales. Now, but why do you need to rank on page 1 of Google, and much preferably in the top 3 results? Because when you rank on page 1 of Google, you can generate more online traffic and visitors to your website, more leads and more qualified leads, more sales, more revenues, and ultimately more bottom line profits. The higher your page 1 ranking, the bigger your potential is to dominate your market and crush your competition. But what if you're not ranking on page 1 of Google? Who is? Well, if it's not you, it's your competition, which means they and not you are in prime position to generate more online traffic, more website visitors, leads, qualified leads, sales, revenues, and profits, which I don't think you want to happen. You want to have the opportunity, and not your competition, to get more of all of those. Now, why is it all this so important? Why do you need to rank on page 1 of Google? Because there's actually a cost of not ranking on page 1 of Google, a cost that can actually be calculated. Now, there's a very good chance that you did not even know there's a way to calculate the estimated value of any keyword in any position on page 1 of Google, and that's okay. It doesn't surprise me. But why don't you know? I mean, wouldn't you want to know if you're investing or considering investing in SEO? Unfortunately, it's rather sad. Most so-called SEO experts have no idea how to calculate the value of any keyword on page 1 of Google, and worse yet, they have no clue how to calculate the estimated value of a single keyword. Now, how many of the so-called SEO professionals or experts that you have either retained or are currently retaining, have talked to, received emails or marketing materials from, and or heard a sales pitch from, have actually calculated the estimated value of the keywords they are attempting or intend to rank on page 1 of Google for you? How many have even mentioned the potential value of any one of your keywords? My educated guess is that very, very few, if any of all, have ever discussed this with you. Now, that's pretty scary. Don't you think it would be vitally important to know the potential value of a keyword you're trying to rank for on page 1 of Google before trying to rank for it or paying anyone to try to rank it for you? Why, of course it would. Now, that being the case, then why do a vast majority of SEO consultants never calculate for you the estimated value of ranking any of your keywords on page 1 of Google, or even mention it to you at all? That's because the simple, painful truth is this: a vast majority of SEO consultants have absolutely no clue how to calculate a keyword's value. And worse yet, these same SEO consultants very likely have absolutely no clue how to find the right resource or tools to run or have someone run your keyword valuation for you. So the next time you talk to your current SEO consultant and or any other consultant trying to sell you their SEO services, ask them what the potential value is for one or more of your keywords if it is ranked on page 1 of Google, anywhere from number 1 to number 10. My second educated guess is that what the response is going to be. I can tell you, after a few ums and clearing of their throat, you're already going to know before they say anything at all that they do not know how to calculate the estimated keyword value, or worse, they have no idea what you're even talking about. And let's even assume they did know what you were talking about, which again is very highly unlikely. Why did you have to bring it up, this key question, in the first place? Don't you think that any SEO consultant worth their weight should already know how to do this and has already done this for you so that they can tell you the potential value of any of your keywords? This would put you in prime position to make an informed decision whether it seems worthwhile to have SEO work performed on any specific keywords, or if you're choosing between keywords, which one's the best, and what results you may estimate, assuming your assumptions are accurate, of course. Now, a red flag warning. At this point, you should be seeing red, as in red flags. Now, but why? Because if an SEO consultant can't tell you the estimated value of any keywords they are ranking, trying to rank, or want to rank for you, how can they even recommend to you which keywords to even rank for in the first place? Sure, there will be some obvious keywords, but even so, how can an SEO consultant even begin to understand how to price their services if they don't have even a clue what your potential revenues might be if they get you ranked on page 1 of Google for your keywords? How could you determine your potential return on investment, or ROI, without this vital information? You can't. It's akin to flying blind, but it does not need to be that way, because I have great news for you. I know how to estimate the value of ranking any competitive keyword on page 1 of Google. I have even developed an Excel spreadsheet to run this calculation for me and you, which makes running virtually any scenario with varying assumptions fast and easy and vitally important. I also am in the midst of developing a software that runs this calculation forward as well. So it's going to be awesome once that's out, and it's going to provide even deeper analysis. Now, estimating the value of ranking on page 1 of Google, I'm going to show you a step-by-step calculation to do so. So right now we're going to do some quick but very important calculations that you've probably never seen before but wished you had, to see how much potential lost revenue you may have if your competitors are ranking on page 1 of Google and you're not. As an example, let's say you, or your competitors in this case, have 10 keywords with a combined monthly search volume of 10,000 unique visitors per month. Now let's assume a click-through rate of just 10%, or 1,000 clicks each month for those 10,000 monthly searches. So if we had a click-through rate of 10% here, what we're going to disperse monthly would be, if you're page 1 ranking number 1, remember our click-through rate on page 1 number 1 is about 32.5% on average. So out of those 1,000 clicks, page 1 ranking number 1 would get about 325 estimated clicks monthly. If you're in the number 2 position on page 1, it'd be about 176 clicks, and number 3 would be 114. I'm not going to read them all, but 4 through 10, you get the idea. The higher you rank, the more estimated clicks you're going to get monthly. And of course, we can annualize that too by multiplying the monthly estimated clicks by 12, which I've done here for you. So if you're ranking page 1 number 1, your annualized estimated click distribution is going to be about 3,900 estimated clicks at the number 1 position. Number 2 has an exponential decline down to 2,112 annually, but still nice to have that many clicks. Number 3, 1,368 is the estimate, and number 4 through 10 you can see in descending order as the clicks drop throughout those rankings. Now let's take it a step further. Now we now know estimated clicks you're going to have on those 1,000 clicks, depending on your ranking on page 1. Now let's determine the clicks that we're looking initially are the estimated clicks. Those are leads. They're simply leads. There's somebody ended up on your website or your web property. Now what we want to do is convert leads to qualified leads, which means they either picked up the phone and called you, they opted in for email, something like that. We're going to assume a 20% lead conversion assumption in our scenario here. So if that being the case, if you're ranking page 1 number 1 monthly, you're going to be able to generate approximately 65 qualified leads by simply multiplying 325 estimated clicks by 20%. That's going to give you 65 qualified leads. You and I think both agree that's a lot of leads to have available to you just on a monthly basis. If you're number 2, it drops off, but it's still a nice number of 35 leads. And then number 3, qualified leads of 23. Then you can see number 4 through 10 there. Of course, we can analyze this once again, just multiplying by 12 and talk about some big qualified lead numbers. If you're page 1, number 1, you're going to get about 780 qualified leads throughout the year. If you're ranked number 2, 422. If you're ranked number 3, 274, and so on and so forth for number 4 and number 10. Those are a lot of leads that if you're not ranking in the top 3, you're leaving a potential income and revenues on the table if you're not generating those quality and qualified leads and your competitors are. Now, next, let's assume that a mere 10% of qualified leads retain one of your competitors for their goods and or services versus yours. So, in other words, 10% of qualified leads are converted to a sale. All we need to do now is take the qualified leads that we just figured out monthly to come up with potential monthly sales generated. So all we need to do is take our qualified leads. If for page 1, number 1, it was 65, we showed a few slides ago. And then if we just multiply that by 10%, we'd have about 6.5 sales per month. And if your number 2 position be 3.5% or 3.5 sales, and number 3 be 2.3 sales. Now, if we annualize that, we're going to come up and multiply those figures by 12. And you can see here, qualified leads, if you're to sale, if you're ranking page 1, number 1, on our estimate in our example is 78 sales, and if you're ranking number 2, be 42, number 3 be 27, and so on and so forth, 4 through 10. The point here is showing you the sales distribution. You want to rank higher for more opportunities to convert those qualified leads to sales, and you should know these type of metrics when you're with your website. You might convert leads to sales at 20%, then you'd be doubling these figures. Maybe you do half, you need a half them. Whatever the case may be, this gives you a starting point to start to understand the value of ranking in different positions on page 1. Now, next thing we need to do is to assume a lifetime client value. So let's assume that you're a personal injury lawyer and that each new client or case is worth $50,000 for your competitor. Maybe your lifetime client value is higher or lower per client, or perhaps you're a physician, that's going to be a different figure, obviously. Whatever that figure it is, you can plug in. But for our example, to make it sweet and simple, we're going to use $50,000 for each, on average, each new client and case is worth $50,000. So all we need to do to now come up with potential monthly revenues generated is take that qualified lead to sale monthly that we did a few slides ago, 6.5 sales per month, and multiply it by our average lifetime client value of $50,000 each. That's going to give potential monthly revenue of $325,000 for ranking page 1, number 1. Now, if you're ranking number 2, page 1, it's going to be about 3.5 sales per month. Multiply it again by $50,000. That's $175,000 of potential monthly revenue by ranking number 2. And number 3 is 2.3 sales. It's about $115,000 potential monthly revenue that we estimate using this scenario. I think you agree. Even number 9 and 10, that's $25,000 additional revenue per month that is possible using this scenario. I think you agree. Those are still numbers not to sneeze at. Now, we take the next step to annualize these revenues and get an estimate on an annualized basis, and it's pretty mind-blowing. If you're page 1 ranking number 1 for these keywords, just at 10% qualified lead to sale, that's 78 sales. Multiply that out again by our average lifetime client value of $50,000 each. That's $3.9 million. That's a huge number. In ranking number 2 on page 1, 42 qualified leads to sale, and then you multiply again by 50,000, that's 2.1 million. Number 3 position, 27 sales, that's 1.35 million. Even, look at number 4 is 950,000, almost $1 million on those 19 sales. And then even look at down to 9 and 10 at 300,000 each. So just some big numbers that you can see when you're ranking on page 1 of Google or page 1 of other search engines as well. The point of the matter is the higher you rank, the more potential annual revenue you can see generated by your rankings. Now, this, of course, is an estimate of what's possible. And of course, to be fair, I must tell you that the preceding examples were only estimates, potential sales and revenues numbers that are for informational purposes only. Even though they are only hypothetical figures, they are actually something much more than that. They reveal what is so very possible in terms of new sales and revenues generated online for you if and when you're ranking on the first page of Google. In our example, ranking first on page 1 of Google has a potential annual revenue value of $3,900,000, 3.9 million. That's huge. And even the losers are winners here in that example, right? Ranking last or 10th, even 9th place on page 1 of Google has a potential annual revenue value of $300,000, which for some businesses can be not just to the next level, can be beyond the next level. So depending where you're ranking, where your business is, that could be an awfully huge number as well. $300,000 is a nice figure to add to the bottom line annually. Now, and that was only assuming 10 keywords with some pretty easy assumptions. Just imagine what the potential value is for all your keywords. Now, let me take this step and thought process one step further. What if you had multiple page 1 rankings like this example? It might be a little hard to see, but you can see here in this particular search query, 6 out of the top 8 page 1 Google rankings or results that came back were for the same one business. And that's a highly competitive keyword in a major US city. Ranking 6 times out of the top 8. That's just dominating. If you, depending on what their client value is and their conversion numbers and figures, that can be not only huge, but what it really represents is this. It's total market domination. It's totally dominating not just the search and the keywords there, but could be also dominating the total market and crushing your competition. So I must ask you again, can you afford not to rank on the first page of Google? Now, the preceding calculations were based on certain assumptions and only an example of what is possible and not a guarantee of any kind. However, the important takeaway for you is to understand that if you're not ranking on Google, you're not banking, and that you and your business are potentially losing out on a substantial revenues just waiting for you to grab them. Right now, if you're not ranking, somebody else is, right? After all, someone will be generating the online traffic, clicks, leads, phone calls, email sales, and revenues from ranking on page 1 of Google for your keywords. Make that someone, not your competition. Make that you and your business as soon as possible. Otherwise, your competitors will have the upper hand and your business will suffer. With the type of potential lost revenues you see are possible when you don't rank on page 1 of Google, I have to ask you, can you really afford not to rank on page 1 of Google? You and I, we both know the answer to that question, don't we? Like I said, it's a rhetorical question at this standpoint. So what should you be doing next? Well, you now have 2 choices, proverbial fork in the road. You can maintain the status quo, you can do nothing and leave the fate of your business to chance, or you can schedule your free no obligation keyword valuation analysis with me now by simply picking a day and time for us to speak at the end of this presentation. Now, what we're going to be able to do is to find out the estimated value of your keywords if you were ranking on page 1 of Google instead of your competitors. Plus, I will provide you with a game plan to show up on page 1 of Google for your keywords. Now, I'm looking for a few more qualified clients, and the type of clients I work with are professional businesses, organizations, and practices who want to generate more online traffic, more leads, more qualified leads, more phone calls, more emails, more sales, more revenues, more of all that. I'm also looking for businesses, law firms, physicians, dentists, CPAs, oral surgeons, realtors, etc., who are ready to invest now. I'm also looking for businesses who do not penny pinch or delay key decisions. If you delay key decisions, could mean the difference between ranking on page 1 of Google and not. And that could be substantial, just as the calculation and estimate example I just showed you. So what you need to do right now is you need to pick a day and time for us to speak as soon as possible, as I work on an exclusive basis. My time and client roster space are very, very limited. And once my roster fills up again, it can be up to several months before another slot becomes available. I'm available to speak with you 7 days a week. Now, so go ahead and schedule your free no obligation keyword valuation analysis now before your competitors do. Now, if you want to beat your competition to the punch, or if you prefer to get started immediately and beat your competition, you may call or email me at the phone number here, 843-290 9950 or email me at adivine@digitalwavemarketing.com. I want to thank you now for taking valuable time out of your day to watch this informative and very crucial, important presentation. I look forward to speaking with you very soon. And if you're ready to speak to me about your keyword valuation analysis and gameplay now, again, here's my information for contacting me. It's Anthony Devine. I'm the CEO, founder, and owner of DigitalWave Marketing. My phone number is area code 843-290-9950. And my email again is adivine@digitalwavemarketing.com. So that, I want to thank you and look forward to you scheduling your appointment below now. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye now.